Hello, Health and Human Services. My name is Kristin Wilson, one of your resiliency coordinators, and I have a guest with us today, my dear friend, Allison Sturtevant Gilliam, who is taking some time to talk to us about how to navigate this brave new world with being home working and navigating life with children, family at home, teaching children all at the same time, basically what I call 3 full-time jobs at once, and dogs.
And dogs.
Yeah. So Allison, will you just share a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you?
Yeah. So I am a mom of 4 kids that live at home. We have 5, but our oldest is an adult and he's not here. So they're little, from almost 4 until almost 12. And so it's been quite an adventure being at home with everyone. I also work as a professional trainer with Children's Home Society. So most of my work is home-based anyway. And now we've tried to integrate all of our in-person work into virtual work. So that's been a fun endeavor. So working from home has been different for me since this pandemic started, and trying to navigate. 3 of the 4 kids are in school, so they have virtual learning assignments. And then my husband's a nurse, and so 3 nights a week he's gone. So I solo parent and work, and yeah, it's fun times.
Yeah. So I know that there are a lot of employees with Health and Human Services that are also trying to navigate working from home and actually doing meetings like this with clients or large groups while having sometimes babies, toddlers, all age children, homeschooling, like doing all the things. So I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about, like, what are some of the challenges that come up?
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest challenge was, how was I going to do it all? I like to get everything done. And so it was, the first challenge for me was redefining what my goals were for each of my various roles. So getting very real with, all right, if each of my 3 kids have 5 assignments, what am I okay with them actually accomplishing? So for my family, which may not be true for everyone's, sometimes I don't even care if they finish their work, as long as they are doing something creative or reading a book or doing something else that helps them be a more well-rounded person in the long run. So that was the decision my family and I made. So that was kind of the first thing, was redefining what homeschooling looked like, what our goals were for homeschooling. And then being very specific for what I needed to get done at work. I'm not a list person. If you're a list person, having like a list that's what is the bare minimum and then what are the best case scenarios that you can work through is great. If you are a person, like having a list of who do I need to connect with and what do I need to do for each of those people is really helpful. Like every morning before you venture into work, having that conversation with yourself. For me, it's like, what is good enough for today? If I get these things done, can I be okay with that being good enough for the day? So those are the things that I ask myself going into every day. And for each of the different jobs that I have, for the parenting job, for the work job, for the trying to be a human in a pandemic job of keeping my own nervous system calm, and really looking at those different priorities, different competing demands, and defining what is acceptable for me in each of those. Yeah.
I know one thing that I've talked about is just how important, maybe more than ever, it is for us to keep our nervous system calm, and which helps us keep our immune system strong, and how important that is in these times.
Right.
So what about navigating, it's like, here we are doing this call right now, or this video right now. And I know at one point we were talking and one of your children came in and your dog says hello.
Hey. Yeah. Isn't she
Which
cute?
isn't, but it's an interesting thing for me because for me, what happens is it calms my nervous system. I'm like, I see children, I see animals, I see love and interaction, and my whole body just goes, oh, and I melt. And what I know is that what happens in your nervous system is probably very different. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Just yesterday we were on a work call, a team meeting. And so it was just internal people. There's a team of 5 trainers across the state. And so we were all Zooming with our support staff and our supervisor. And I was sharing how nerve-wracking it is when my kids do stuff like that, or the dog is barking, or Lucas, my 6-year-old, is in his room, but he starts his motorized track and it's really loud and I'm in the middle of something, and how my whole nervous system is like on fire. Because for me, professional in my role means that everything is professional. So my first step was redefining professional, and giving myself that permission. And then hearing from my staff, or the staff that I work with, that right now everybody is struggling with this, and that it really isn't as bothersome for other people as it is for me. Here you go, girlfriend. So giving myself the freedom to do little interactions like what's happening right now. You guys can't even see how cute she is. Look how cute she is. Hey. So that was one thing, was for me redefining what professionalism is. It might be for somebody else redefining, or how do you get that permission? And so my supervisor saying to me, look, Allison, we all know this happens, was a little bit of a relief. So having that conversation with whoever you need to have the conversation with to kind of get it right in your nervous system, that stuff like this is okay. And then you have, then I do other things, like when situations like this happen and my nervous system goes up, I have worked very hard to create opportunities for myself within my space that help me stay online when this happens. So yeah, so like this, we'll take a second and connect and give her what she needs. There you go. See it? On the top. All right, can you go listen to that in your room?
No, with the husband.
Oh, with your dad? That's a great idea. So for me to get back online after that, like right now, I'm like, oh, really? This just happened in this meeting? So I sit on a yoga ball. So the other thing is our nervous systems need sensation to feel grounded and calm. So the smoke alarm, or the amygdala that defines what is safe in our bodies, uses sensory information. So because I know that, I work very hard to make sure that the environment that I make these calls feels safe to me sensory wise. So like I sit on a yoga ball. So when things like that happen, I might bounce a little bit more to give that to my nervous system. I have little things that are fidgets. Like I love these little clippy things. Like this is proprioceptive to go. So I keep a bunch of these just on my desk so that when we're talking, I'm just playing with it. And it feels like playing with it, but what I'm really doing is telling my nervous system I'm safe right now. Like, Allison, that interaction was okay. You're here, you're present, you're with everybody. It's really okay. So I always make sure I have water. What are the things in your immediate environment? Yeah, that when I go to make a call, when I'm about to hit join call where there's video or audio and I have to be on, I make sure I'm surrounded by those things that my nervous system registers as safe. So fidgets, water. I'm an essential oils person, so there's essential oils going. The other day, my daughter brought an orange in, and I was peeling an orange while I was talking to people. I was like, oh my God, this smells so good. I could just have an orange on my table. So just those sorts, having a chair that moves, making sure that my clothes are comfortable so that if I have to be, I'm not like, oh, look at this tag, just really constructing an environment where I can be as settled as possible, and then have tools right here, sensory tools, because sometimes I don't even think about like, oh, I should take deep breaths right now, or let me do that hand thing I learned where you go like this and it calms your nervous system. I can't remember to do all of those things. But sometimes without even knowing it, I pick something up and I'm playing with it, and it's regulating. So just making sure all of that's available to you. I also use headphones that you all probably hear a whole lot more about what's happening in my household than I do right now, because the headphones allows me to hear just Kristin in our interaction right now versus all the different noises. And that helps me at least, because I know it's probably not as bothersome to everyone else if they can hear my family living in the house with me. So this helps me focus on what I have to focus on. So that's kind of it. It's just doing the best that you can. When you have to say, excuse me, and you know, deal with whatever is right in front of you. I also learned that trying to avoid the connection with my child to stay professional makes a bigger power struggle between my child and I. So when she comes up, being able to give her that in the moment, that couple seconds interaction, preserves our relationship, but it also preserves my ability to keep going. And I have found people to be very understanding and appreciative of that. And like Kristin said, I think sometimes it even feels good to other people to see that happening.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, on my end, it feels like a gift, you know, like somebody's dog will come, or even just the sound of a child in the background. I'm like, oh, thank you. So, and I remember when we first talked, when we first were in kind of the stay home order, and you had talked about needing to reorient, like reprioritize, what does being a good enough parent look like? What does being a parent that's needing to homeschool look like, that's good enough? And what does professionalism look like? And that there's a reorienting of that, and a reorienting of what is productivity. Right. And how much our like physical, emotional well-being is so important and a priority in order for everything else to happen.
Right.
So
and I find that some days my priorities shift moment by moment. So I can sit down and make a beautiful list or have a picture in my mind of what I will accomplish during the day. And by 10 o'clock, it's completely different. And so giving myself that ability to be present in all the different roles as much as possible and being flexible with that. And I'm not a flexible person around those sorts of things for myself. So that has taken a lot of work to be able to figure that out. And also talking to other people about this and saying, how do you handle it? Or, oh my gosh, can you imagine can I tell you about what just happened? I had a funny Facebook post that was really helped me readjust some of my expectations. A friend of mine posted something that said, if you're at home with kids and you're trying to work, post something that your child did, but place your coworker, like reword it. And so I had posted something that was so frustrating to me. And I posted, my coworker got naked today, put on a satin pillowcase, and shuffled through the house claiming to be a mermaid. And I was angry when I posted that. But everybody's, all the stuff that came afterwards, everybody thought it was so funny. And I was like, Allison, that was hilarious. What a beautiful moment with your 3-year-old. And so that reoriented it for me. Before I made that post, and even as I made that post, I was like, this is the ridiculous stuff I have to deal with. Can you all believe it? And then everybody was like, how cute. And I was like, oh, you're right. It is cute. Take a deep breath, realign your expectations, and allow yourself the moment of, oh my gosh, how cute that she thinks she's a mermaid and she's shuffling through the house with this little satin pillowcase on. So even having opportunities, where can you go with those sorts of conversations where people will help you say, you know, that sounds really hard and it's really adorable. So.
Thank you so much. You brought me connection in this call. You brought me laughter in this call, information. And there's just one other thing I wanted to say before we wrap it up, is I'm just thinking about like how much, like you're talking about expectations and adapting, and how for some people just change is so challenging. And one thing that's happening in particular for Health and Human Services staff is that as we need to, as an agency, reorient what needs to be prioritized, what is needed, that people's roles and responsibilities are changing. And it's a very unpredictable time in general, but it's also unpredictable just in like, oh, my job today is to fulfill this,
Right.
and I may not know what my job tomorrow needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think that just applying a lot of some of what you talked about today is in these very uncertain, unpredictable times is so helpful.
Thank you. I'm glad to be able to share.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being such a wonderful mama and good friend. I appreciate you.
Ditto.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.